Project Scorpio has been revealed, and boy oh boy does it look like a beast. What's up everybody, it's Ghost Robo, and today we're talking all about the latest and greatest from Microsoft. Today, this morning, Digital Foundry released a whole bunch of information, articles, and video all about the final specs of Scorpio, all about what Scorpio sets out to do, and all about their experience with Scorpio and how it actually works. If the proof is in the pudding, and it looks like it is. Now, I'll be throwing the full specs up on screen if you want to read through all of those, but basically, the important things are that, yes, Scorpio does hit the 6 teraflop performance target for the GPU. Scorpio does have 12 gigabytes of GDDR5 memory. Scorpio does have a custom 8-core CPU. Scorpio does see a 31% boost in CPU over Xbox One. Scorpio does see a 60% memory boost over Xbox One, and Scorpio basically is the most powerful console available, and that is really, really good news. Now, I was hoping that this reveal would highlight the form factor, the price, the name, maybe show some games running, and it doesn't do any of that. So it's a little bit of a bummer for me, just because I wanted more of the stuff that the mainstream audience is going to care about. And this was very much focused on the hardcore, very much focused on the enthusiasts, very much focused on the PC type of gamer, the very hardcore type of gamer that cares about specs and pixels. But that being said, Digital Foundry is the place to really analyze and take all that information in and pop out something a little bit more digestible. And they say that it's incredibly impressive. They say that it lives up to the hype, and there's some really important factors here that I think are great choices by Microsoft and are really going to help vault this thing forward once it does release in the fall. Now, Digital Foundry says it's about 6 months or maybe a little more away from release, which does put it at a November launch, which would be expected. They expect it to cost around $499, definitely going to be more than the PS4 Pro, they note, and they say that the final form factor should be very, make people very happy. That's going to be revealed at E3. Nothing, no photos here today on that. Also, some interesting choices from Microsoft, a real heavy focus on 1080p satisfaction. So they are saying 100% compatibility with all Xbox One and Xbox 360 games that work on Xbox One, and that they are basically putting their foot down that all 1080p and 900p games from Xbox One will run at native 4K, and obviously all custom-built things for Scorpio will also run at native 4K, and that it looks really good. So they saw a Forza Tech demo, and it was running at 4K 60 without any problem, that it looked really, really good, and that they say it is basically the equivalent to a NVIDIA 1070, which they think is very impressive. And they say if it's able to reach or exceed 1070, then that's a real great win for a console, and a huge, obviously, step up from anything we've seen to date. They're very impressed with the graphics. They're very impressed with how that looks, and they say, but it's the GPU clock speed that really stands out in Project Scorpio, the aspect that defies current thinking on console design. Current gen hardware has traditionally featured conservative frequencies in order to sustain yield and to minimize heat in a constrained form factor. How Microsoft has achieved this is remarkable. And they kind of go on to say that the design here is really innovative, really unique, and really came through in the clutch to deliver a console that's able to provide the power Microsoft promised, able to cool it properly, and that even at 60 frames 4K, this Forza demo was only using about 60 to 70% of the GPU, so that leaves 30 to 40% for more. And at one point they threw in the maximum amount of cars, the full AI, all the physics, and it still was only running at 88%. And that is pretty darn awesome, meaning that this thing isn't like taxed to the limit with 4K 60, that there's still room. And there's some really great mandates here. Super sampling is mandated on all games. All game modes, resolution, performance are required to be available to every display type. So if you have a 1080p TV, you are going to see your game shine, and you're going to have access to those modes. If you're on 4K, you're going to have access to those modes. PS4 Pro is far more limiting in what it allows, and it's constrained based on your display. Xbox Project Scorpio is looking to really be it has a focus on 1080p users, on current HD display users, which I think is really important. And Digital Foundry talks about how they kind of had a little bit of a turn there and really wanted to focus on 1080p. They have a really cool article, and I'll link to all this, where they give 5 main reasons why your Xbox One and 360 games will be better in Scorpio. And just to list those off, it says smoother performance and no screen tearing, maximum possible resolution on dynamic titles, improved texture filtering, Scorpio game DVR support, which has me very excited, and faster loading, which I think is one that I didn't even really think about, but it is obviously coming in part and parcel with such a powerful system that you're going to have better load times. And they talk about, in a world where a Battlefield 1 campaign level can take anything up to 2 minutes to load, this one is especially welcome. And I agree. Very excited. The fact that they're bringing everything up to this native 4K is really exciting. And the fact that they have a focus on 1080p users, I think, is really smart. And I like sort of how they describe and sort of conclude where this leaves us going forward with consoles. And they say, traditionally there's a 6 times to 8 times leap in console power every 5 years. Right now it seems like a new console with a 2 to 3 times boost every 3 to 4 years is more likely based on current trends. So the Scorpio is kind of doing something new in the sense that it's not the Xbox 2, right? It's not the PlayStation 5, but it's more of a bump than the Pro. And it kind of puts us in uncharted territory in terms of console releases, where now we have an iterative and exceptionally more powerful system that is coming out about 4 years and 4 to 5 years, and will this be the future? Will we get these 2 to 3 times bumps every couple of years? Will we ever see an Xbox 2? Are PlayStation and Microsoft diverging in their strategy, where PlayStation still seems committed to a PS5, especially given that the Pro isn't really that crazy of an improvement, but Scorpio, they are pushing to build the best box possible, and it sounds like Microsoft really wants to take back sort of that claim that they have the strongest hardware and the best gaming hardware for any console user. And based on everything that Digital Foundry has seen and said, it sounds like they've achieved that. Now, they are quick to note that they didn't really see a whole lot of game action. They didn't see like brand new stuff. They do note that there is a lot more Scorpio info and impressions to be revealed later, so maybe some of that's coming. Who knows what all they know. But it's interesting that Microsoft chose to hold back on everything except pure performance. So this is very much targeted at the extreme hardcore. And I guess Digital Foundry was the most critical of the Xbox One in comparison to the PS4 initially, so now them saying that, holy crap, this blows everything out of the water and has the promise to be significantly better than the PS4 Pro is really a nice double, triple, quadruple thumbs up for Microsoft, and really kind of convinces the hardcore and the video files, the audio files, all that if you want to have the best console experience possible, it's going to be here. And they note how it is pushing towards, desktop level quality. And they talked about that it was, comparable to ultra high settings or ultra settings, I guess, on PC, and that there still was room. It wasn't maxed out, and I think that's really awesome. Now, they did note that they were showing off Forza tech, so if you're going to show off anything, you're going to use something that you're very familiar with and that runs very well on the Microsoft platforms. But again, their commitment to mandate super sampling, their commitment to mandate all modes for all display users, their commitment to really benefiting and making games sparkle and shine for 1080p users, their commitment that all 1080p and 900p games are going to be able to run at native 4K, their commitment that they really want you to notice at all levels, I think is interesting. Now, they also state, Digital Foundry also states that they feel that there will be less crossover here than between PS4 and PS4 Pro, meaning that this is targeting a very high-end user based on what it's providing and based on the price point. Again, they're predicting $500, but they say it's definitely going to be more expensive than PS4 Pro, and it sounds like rightfully so. It sounds like there's a whole lot more here, and all of their custom work, all of their ingenuity in making this happen seems pretty darn impressive. And they do note that it won't be able to make all frame rates all of a sudden 60 frames per second. It's not going to be able to change things in that way, but it is going to do its darndest to make the games look better. And I'm sure you can dig through these articles and find some more specifics. But for me, I was looking to pull out what, as a very hardcore, but not that hardcore gamer, am I getting out of this? What is my benefit to buying an Xbox Scorpio or whatever it ends up being called? I'm a little disappointed that we don't get the file name, we don't get any box shots, we don't get any game footage. You're seeing this Forza screenshot throughout the video, which looks fantastic, but obviously motion is where it needs to be. And there's some stuff that's just lost on me. They talk about vapor chamber heat sinks and all the different granular details that it is hard for me to, and probably hard for most people, to convert into what does that do for Quantum Break? What does that do for Gears 4? What does that do for Halo? What does that do for upcoming Crackdown 3? And we will be having that all shown to us at E3. Digital Foundry says they're very excited for E3, and the fact that Microsoft is willing to show something this early and reveal something this early, kind of unprecedented, and kind of makes them think that E3 2017 is going to be a big show and a really important and also really positive display and showcase for Microsoft and for Xbox, and kind of a way for them to put themselves back on the map with gamers and really compete with Sony, and in fact exceed Sony from a power and performance standpoint. Now, Digital Foundry, like any smart gamer, knows that ultimately the games are kind of what defines a console, and so Microsoft does need to hit it out of the park with that as well. And I hope that at E3 they're able to reveal games besides Crackdown 3 that are not only impressive technically, but are impressive gameplay, mechanic, and IP-wise, and that do impress and encourage people to drop the big amount of cash that this will require. Obviously, if you're a new user, and you want to future-proof yourself and go with something that is going to give you that native 4K and really work some magic on your 1080p as well, then this is the way to go. But for existing users, what is the reason for the upgrade? And it sounds like they provided it from a performance standpoint, but we need to see that in action. And we need to, again, Digital Foundry is telling us the proof is in the pudding and that it's there. But obviously, as consumers, as people holding on to our cash, as people not really wanting to turn over our wallets if it's not worth it, we're going to need to wait to E3 to see all of that. So if you guys have any thoughts, any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'll probably be covering this again, and as Digital Foundry reveals more, we'll talk about it again. But for now, I just kind of want to digest everything into a form that made some sense. And I think I've covered a lot of the main points, and hopefully it has made you excited for Scorpio. I am definitely pumped. I can only imagine what some of this stuff will look like. I've seen, Horizon Zero Dawn run at 4K, and that looks incredible. And they point that out. Like, if you have a TV that is capable of that and the HDR lighting, like, it's a wow moment. And the fact that Scorpio is gunning to do that with everything, and gunning to do that in really incredible ways, and gunning to do that with much more power and still room to spare, and looking to try and level itself with desktop PCs with powerful graphics is impressive. So I'm very excited. I'm hopeful. I can't wait till E3. I wish there was more now, but we'll have to be patient for that. Until that time, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Hope you're having a fantastic day and enjoyed this Scorpio reveal. Exciting again that we got the Switch. Now we got the Scorpio reveal. E3 is only 8.5 weeks away, and I could not be more pumped for this one. There's going to be big games: Assassin's Creed Empire, God of War again. Who knows what Microsoft will show? Super Mario Odyssey. A lot of really big stuff across the board. Reveals of sequels in Call of Duty, Destiny 2, Battlefront 2. And it should be a big, and now with Scorpio, very beautiful showing. So stay tuned for that. I'll be waiting with bated breath, and I'm sure you guys will be as well. So while all of that anxiousness stews, until next time, everyone, thanks again for watching. Have a fantastic day. Drink much. I love you. We will see you all later.